Hi guys, it's Ray. Today we are going to do a little book review. Not so much a book review, but what I read in January of 2024. I don't think I got everything written down in here. Kindle Unlimited makes you remove things when it's full, so you have to delete stuff and make room for new. But I've got some highlights in here. This journal is too big for me to be happy with, and it asks too many questions that I don't really want to keep track of. So I used it. I'm going to keep using it because it's not that big, so it's not going to take me that long to fill up. But this one wants to know what format you read in, whether you borrowed it or it was a library book or whatever. It wants your start dates and your end dates and why you chose this book and who you'd recommend it to, and a quote, and just an extra line, and then a review. It's too much. I just want a basic, just to help me keep track of what I read so I can come back. So Facebook started advertising, and I don't know if it's a new program or not, but Facebook started heavily hitting the Amazon First Reads, which is a compiled list. It's a short list of pre-release books. Mostly they'll be coming out the next month or something. So I did, and I don't know, you get one a month if you have Amazon Prime. Usually these are books that are coming to Kindle Unlimited anyways, so if you don't have Prime, you're still going to get these free at some point. But they sucked me in because they had the Dean Koontz book that came out February 1st was included in that. And I think whether it was because it was your first month or it was a new program, in January you could get 2 first reads. So I got the Dean Koontz one, and then the second one I didn't really read the description. Other people were just saying in the comments that they absolutely loved the book, and I did not care for it. But we're going to jump in. We're going to do Dean Koontz first, The Bad Weather Friend. I will put a picture of the book up here. I absolutely love this. I started it January 7th when I finished reading whatever I was reading, and I was done with it on the 8th or the 9th. This is my favorite type of Dean Koontz book. It's Dean. I mean, it's not, normal everyday life romance. It's Dean. It's out there. But it's not, I don't know, if you liked Odd Thomas, it's got a very Odd Thomas type vibe. Maybe even like Watchers if you want to go way back. But it's the kind of character he built that's very, very endearing to you, and you're really, really rooting for him to still be good in the end of the series. Or not series, at the end of the book. Just very my style. I love everything Dean writes except for the Frankenstein series. We've been over that before. But this is my type of Dean. So, but this is about Benny Catspaw, who is a very generally happy, upbeat, floats on a cloud through life. And he ends up losing his job, his fiance, and so much. And then he gets a video message from an uncle that he's never met that happens to live in Florida, and saying that he's got an inheritance coming, and the video says all will be well in the end. And this is where we meet more of our other players. I don't want to get into it too far, but he gets a crate, and this is where Spike comes into the story. And he also ends up with somebody he met at the diner as the, like, side heroine throughout the story. So if you liked Odd Thomas, I highly, highly recommend you give this one a read. I just absolutely loved it. So the second one I read was Almost Surely Dead. I will put that picture up. I did finish it. It was listed as a psychological thriller. And I don't know if it's cultural things, but it's about the main character, and she disappears, and it's written from, like, a whole bunch of different perspectives, and, like, actually parts of it are like a podcast. It was kind of a clever way of writing it, but some of the stuff got a little woo-woo and out there for me. I didn't really consider it truly a psychological thriller. Maybe a little bit more like paranormal. I don't know. It went back and forth between when she was a grown-up and when she was a kid, and then her friends' perspectives and these podcasters' perspectives, and I can see why some people liked this, but for me, this was just a no. But I did finish it because I do not like to have DNFs, and I do have one book sitting in my lineup that I started in January that it's book 4 of a series, so I've read them, because Kindle doesn't recommend a series in the middle to you. It shows you what's next in the series. Yeah, I will finish it at some point when I have nothing else to read, but it's a series that's a little more out there than my normal, what I prefer to read. So, the next thing I read, and these are not going to be in order, but Facebook advertising has been hitting the books really, really hard for me. But I read a series called The Edge of Collapse series from Kyla Stone, and they get very mixed reviews, but I absolutely loved them, and maybe I liked them so much because they're not my typical read. So I'm just going to put pictures of the covers up over here. It was a complete 7-book series. There were a couple bonus chapters at the end if you signed up for her newsletter. And there was like a prequel book that should have been read, I want to say in between like books 1 and 2. But I didn't realize that was out there. So, but the Edge of Collapse series, 7 books plus the little extras. Edge of Collapse is the book 1. And that is storyline 1, I'm going to say. So this book follows Hannah and Liam, who are 2 of our primary players throughout. Some people didn't like that she didn't combine book 1 and book 2, but I actually liked the way it was because it heavily developed the characters before they started adding in way more people. So, this is a post-apocalyptic series. This one, the world changed because of an EMP. This is not my normal read. Like, this was out there for me, but the Facebook advertising got me because they're like, oh, if you like Dean Koontz and you like books about dogs, and I mean, Dean Koontz books aren't about dogs, but there's always a dog. So, I don't know. The Facebook advertising hooked me in. So, book 1 is Hannah and Liam. These are our first 2 primary players after the world changes. I'm not going to spoil anything by saying this, but Hannah's been kidnapped 5 years previous, and she was locked in a basement, and when the power grid goes down, all the security goes down, and she gets out. And Liam is not necessarily a prepper. He's been a soldier in the past, but he's trying to get to his cabin where he knows he would be good, and he meets up with Hannah. And so this story follows the beginning of their story. Book 2, Edge of Madness, is where we meet Noah and Quinn. Noah lives in the town this is all set in, and why I cannot think of that town off the top of my head. But Noah was Hannah's husband, and he's got their son Miles, and Quinn lives on their street. She doesn't really live on their street, but her grandparents live on Noah's street. So, and this starts with them when the power grid goes down. Because, by chance they're somewhere together. Not knowingly together, but, and shows their story of them getting home. And it just kind of builds and builds and builds from there. And the rest of the books, we just build the storyline and build the storyline and build the storyline of them protecting this town and getting this town safe. And like I said, I enjoyed them, but I don't usually read post-apocalyptic stuff. So, it does have mixed reviews. Like I read a Reddit thread about it and why people didn't like Hannah. And most of what they didn't like about Hannah was one particular scene, which, okay, she could have done better. But, yeah, Facebook marketing sucked me in, but these were all free on Kindle Unlimited, so if you're reading on Unlimited, it's not going to hurt. But, like I said, this was 7 books. I started these, like, the last week of January, and I read them, basically nonstop until I finished. I think I finished the last one on February 1st or 2nd. So, but by the end, and especially with the little couple free bonus chapters from signing up from her newsletter, I was actually really happy with the way the series wrapped up. So I was good with that. But yeah, I feel like post-apocalyptic stuff, and yeah, was it kind of gory in some spots, and do you lose characters you like? Well, yeah, it's a apocalyptic world, so that's going to happen. But I read the 20th book in Elle Gray's Blake Wilder series. This one was called Watching Her. I read this one about mid-month. FBI mystery thriller. You guys know that's most of what I read. I thought this one was really, really fast-paced. And this one, they did, like, the storyline of the book. And worked really heavily on the storyline that we've been following for the last couple of books, because that's the way a lot of these FBI thriller books work, is you've got your main storyline for this installment, where it would be a standalone book, and then you've got some kind of something you've been following book to book to book. So yes, it's a series, so I wouldn't recommend going and reading it on its own, but, another good installment of that. And there was also Mary Stone and Laurie Rhodes put out, and this one was brand new. I should be writing, like, the release date of these, because sometimes I'll have missed something, and I'll end up back to, like, something that came out last summer, and I'll have a couple of them to catch up on. But The Shadow Island, Book 13, Shadows Escape. So in this one, Sheriff Rebecca West has a new set of, in this case, it's missing girls, and she's got to try and figure out where the yacht club plays into all of this and try and solve the current stuff. And the yacht club is our continuing storyline for all of this. So I enjoy those. They're usually a fairly quick read, but they're kind of intense sometimes, and I've been enjoying them. So, also from Mary Stone, Autumn's Warning, which is the Autumn Trent series, and this is like season 2 of that series. Like, she ended the first set, and then this is also an FBI thriller. Autumn works for the BAU in the FBI, and that's the Behavior Analysis Unit. She is dating her supervisor, Aiden, and Yeah, this one was the first book of the season 2 was super, super intense and got like delved deeply into every single person on the BAU's psyches. So this is kind of the fallout from that and them getting back into their next case. What's left of the team at that point. So I really enjoyed this one. Yeah. And next I read Ava James, book 11, The Girl in Hawaii. Ava's a splinter character from one of the other series I've read, and this one crossed over into the Bella Walker series, which is, I think I have book 2 or 3 queued up. I think it's book 3 queued up to read. So this is kind of a crossover. Ava goes to Bella, where Bella's FBI unit works out of, and this one was like a kidnapping crime fiction, even though it's an FBI thriller. But in the beginning, Bella reaches out to Ava because they found a victim from one of Ava's closed cases that she's never solved, and has always kind of rankled her that she hasn't solved it. So she goes there and works with Bella on that case, and it was just kind of a nice, easy little crossover. I'm sure there were other books I read throughout the month. I was not like, I think if this was smaller, I'd be more inclined to like actually carry it with me and fill it out. But since most of what I did read was like intense stuff, usually December I like read just Christmas junk. I get like every romance trope imaginable through the Christmas season, and I just generally keep December's reading very, very light. Once in a while an author will release one of these in December, but a lot of the time they kind of lay low for December. And January and February they start really hitting you hard, which is probably smart because people are very busy in December. But I did read the Whale series, Whale Harbor romance series. Like in between these books, I kind of staggered them because these are quick, easy, light romance reads. These ones are set in, the Northeast. But we start with Darla Sims moving back home after being in New York City, and then we kind of character build from there. But she is the starting character for this series, and she's an artist that was trying to make it in New York and went home for her grandmother's funeral, and we just go on and on from there. So these are fun, cute, light reads, you know, coastal towns. Generally when I'm going to read a romance series, it's going to be in a coastal town. Sometimes I'll get something in, you know, Colorado or Wyoming or whatever, but I like modern romance stuff. I don't read like historical romance. I can't get into it. So that was my January, what I read. I am into February. We're like on day 6 of February. I've written nothing down yet. And it took me so long to get this filmed because I am not comfortable filming when people are walking around my house. And it took me this long to find, well, I'm almost at 20 minutes now to film this. So, let me know what you're reading. Let me know if you have anything you think should be on my TBR. You can kind of see what I read. Like I said, most of what I read is Kindle Unlimited. I read so much, and I just blow through books that I rarely buy anything anymore. There's a couple authors I do buy religiously, but a lot of the stuff I don't. Like, it was funny, in the first reads for February, And I'm going to put that up on the screen just so you can see kind of what they let you pick from. But there's Jeffrey Devers, but I saw it was like a novella. I used to like when, you know, books were books. He was one of my go-tos. Like, I had all of the Lincoln Rhyme books. And, but I did not pick that one because it's a novella. So, if that's coming to Kindle Unlimited, it can wait. So, because this is one of the things that's really annoying me in modern books, is the whole novella thing. I don't want to read 1 or 2 chapters of a book at a time and have you call them like a standalone read. They're not. Something that's going to take me 15 minutes to read is not a book, especially if I'm reading it through Kindle Unlimited and I only have so many slots for books at a time. And you're going to put out 20 books every couple of weeks. I don't mind a short book that is a complete, you know, I can sit down and read it in an hour or 2. But something that is literally 3 chapters or something, and no, I'm not into that. I find it very annoying, especially in my I can't have DNFs and then forced to finish it. So a short book, yeah, I don't mind. But the little baby mini novellas, or I don't even know what we're calling them. All I know is when I get sucked into one of them, because I don't read the descriptions, I don't read the page length, I don't read, like, if you don't tell me it's a novella in advance and that I'm going to get an installment every week, I'm going to be annoyed. Yeah, Dean Koontz has an Amazon, I think it's still an Amazon exclusive series, but we knew going into those that it was like a mini series of books. So that's different. That was known going into it. If they make it sound like you're getting this entire story in one thing to start reading it and you find out it's going to be that's when I get irritated. So, but I'm going to wrap this up. My dog is sitting here staring at me. I think he would like to go outside for a little bit, even though it's cold. So that is it. I will be back in February sometime. And let me know what you're reading, and I will see you soon.